to enter into the record this letter from 72 public radio stations serving rural communities across the country, where they emphasize how important federal funding is to the ability to provide vital public safety information.
Without objection, so ordered.
Okay. I also have a similar letter from Georgia, from the Georgia PBS NPR station, also asking for consideration for federal funding.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. Ms. Kerger and Ms. Marr, can we talk a little bit about the educational service you provide for children of low-income families, and how that that is received, and the trust that you've generated among families in that situation?
Yes, a significant part of our broadcast day is devoted to programming for children. We focus on preschool. That goes back to the legacy of Fred Rogers, who believed that media could be a tool to help to instruct children as well as a tool of entertainment. Our programming is focused on core skills that kids need to develop before they enter school, in math and in learning numbers and in learning letters, so that kids that don't have the opportunity to be in a formal pre-K program have a chance to walk into school for the first time on equal footing with kids that have more opportunity. And that's the heart of what we think about in the programming that we develop for kids.
Now, I know you've done some, well, independent groups have done assessments on trust, the trust factor that parents have on PBS Kids, which is one of your most popular services. Can you talk about that?
Yes.
Where did you come in terms of the comparison to other stations?
Yeah, we are the most trusted media brand. In fact, Parents Magazine this week just ran the results of a study that was done on Daniel Tiger's neighborhood, actually looking at 16-year-olds that remember some of the basic skills they learned as small children. And what we're focused on is to make sure, again, that every child has the opportunity to learn and be excited about the world around them when they enter a school for the first time, and to give them those core basic skills that we can see they carry forward in life.
Ms. Marr, I'd like you to focus on the work that public media is doing in relation to public safety communications. How important is this function of public broadcast media, particularly, I'm talking about the most rural, most remote communities in this country?
Thank you so much, Congressman. We are part of the National Next Generation Warning System, for which we've received a significant investment over the course of the last few years, and many thanks to Congress for supporting that appropriation. Our stations are busy implementing that across the nation. We also are part of the the statewide emergency plans for more than 20 states. You'll see the importance and value of public radio in particular when we face extreme weather. For example, whether in Ashland, North Carolina recently, Blue Ridge Public Radio was the only news information source available for nearly 2 weeks as people struggled with outages of water and electricity, and certainly outages of cell phones and internet. Recently as well, my colleague from Alaska would be able to speak to Raven Public Media, which had a very similar experience of 2 weeks of outages in which the local media station was, again, the only source of information for that community. When everything else goes down, public radio is there, available to first responders to be able to communicate directly about issues of harm and ensure the public has access to vital, critical information.
Now, I mean, there's a lot of information out there, a lot of stations out there, but we're talking, what's the difference here when you have a paywall-free, non-subscription access for some of these communities?
I think it makes all the difference in the world, sir. We recently, as I mentioned in my opening statement, we're one of the only publications in America that has a dedicated veterans beat, and the only one without a paywall. I'm always struck by something that our veterans reporter told me, which is that a mother of one of our troops deployed overseas came to him and said that for the first time in 9 months she'd heard his son's voice. That's something that I believe only public media can do, and it can only do that because it is available to all Americans without any barriers.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I yield back.
I now recognize Chairman Comer from Kentucky for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Ullman, I'm glad you brought up a